So, I would like to share what I normally do in my own practice and what I teach my students in my yoga studio.
Chat box lo మీ names type చేయండి, roll number, section.
Can you still see me? Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir, you're audible and visible.
Okay, very good. So I like to start my practice, of course, when the time is limited, with what we call a mental warm-up. So basically taking a few minutes to quiet the mind, to quiet the body. This is not like a long session of meditation, but just a few minutes to kind of disconnect from whatever you were doing before and connect with the breath, connect with the body, connect with the floor. So sit comfortably, bring your pelvis upright, lotus, half lotus, shukrasana, any position is fine. Lowering the knees down to the floor. Bringing the body weight down to the floor. Pushing the sitting bones into the floor, lifting the pelvis, extending the back, extending the neck, relaxing the shoulders and arms, and resting the hands naturally on top of the knees. And here I breathe naturally for now, connecting to the floor, feeling the points of contact with the floor. Feeling the weight of the legs. And feeling the line of the pelvis, the back, the neck. And feeling the weight of the shoulders and the arms. Feeling the weight of the hands on top of my knees. Breathing naturally through the nose into the abdomen. And watching the breath. Watching the inhale. Watching the abdomen gently expand. Watching the exhale and how the abdomen naturally contracts. And as I'm connecting to my breath, I repeat a few times in my mind a very simple mantra that is the basis of Astanga practice. It goes, the rhythm of my breath is the rhythm of my practice. And I repeat that a few times in my mind as I breathe. So it helps me prepare the mind for the upcoming practice. After a few minutes of breathing, connecting to the breath, to the body, to the floor, setting my mind for the practice. With an exhale, I gently open my eyes and I get up on my feet. Since this is a workshop where I will be focusing on arm balance, hand balance for my Surya Namaskara practice, I need to warm up for Surya Namaskara. So think of it like a warm up for the warm up. I often call it also a homework. So if the time is limited and you don't have the time, enough time for the full sequence, for the full vinyasa, Ashtanga vinyasa, and would like to work on your Surya Namaskaras, on the lift, on the transition, I prefer to warm up for that. And as this sort of work requires a few things. First, I need to prepare my joints, wrists, elbows, shoulders, hips, well, basically all the joints in the body. So I think first, I get down on my mat, placing the hands shoulder distance, hip distance, extending the back, extending the neck. And I do very gentle movements first, back and forth. As I move, I press my hands into the floor. So they help me warm up my wrists. At first, very gentle. I don't push too far to the front, because I want to make sure that my wrists are properly warmed up, gradually warm up. And as I feel that my wrists are more or less ready for the next step, I begin to rotate clockwise while pushing the hands, the fingertips into the floor and testing the range. I try to push a little more forward, a little more sideways, just to see where my wrists are at this moment, how ready they feel at this moment. And then I go in the opposite direction, doing the same, keeping my arms straight, pushing front and right and left, and kind of rotating the shoulders on top of the wrists. Very good. I come back to center and try to push forward a little bit more and to compensate, to extend to the back. One more time, forward, and one more time to the back. And a little deeper to the front, and come back. Now I try to engage my abdomen by lifting the knees off the floor, extending, gently placing the knees back, and dropping my hips. One more time. Pushing forward, lifting, squeezing the abdomen, and releasing to the back. One more round. the front, pushing the hands, extending the legs, squeezing the abdomen, maybe staying here for a moment. And placing the knees back on the floor. And then I like to go into a puppy. Keeping the top of my knees. I extend my arms and press my chest down to the floor. And then I also like to warm up my fingers by lifting the palm, pressing the fingertips into the floor, and trying to bring the chest leg down. This also helps me open my shoulders. And then I push back up. And I come into up dog, and I want to spend a little more time on my shoulders by simply dropping and pushing up. Dropping and pushing up. I also stretch my feet off the back of the foot, pressing it into the floor. And I begin to rotate back and front. Minding every single movement, minding the lift, minding the drop, drawing a circle with my shoulders. And I push my hips up, again, using my abdomen, squeezing my abdomen, and gently transitioning into down dog. And dropping the knees, extending the one more time, dropping the knees, extending the hips. One more round. Knees down and hips up. Now it's time to pause. What I do next, I lift my heels, and without moving my shoulders, I try to walk forward on my toes, pushing the big toes into the floor. At the same time, squeezing the abdomen, lifting the hips. And I come as close as I can on my toes and release. And one more time. Forward and release. One more round. On my toes and release. Give my arms and wrists a little break. I'm simply hanging down, relaxing the neck, letting the head bend my neck, the pelvis down. To finish off, I hold my legs behind and press myself closer towards the legs. Squeezing my legs together, pulling the abdomen deep inside and extending towards my feet. To finish this off, I lock my hand and bring my hands forward while squeezing my legs, squeezing the abdomen deep inside, squeezing the hands together, the shoulder blades together, towards the center. And I gently rise. So now my body is ready to get to the next stage. The important thing that is often overlooked is the place. A hand has a center. So the middle finger called middle because it's in the middle. But surprisingly enough, not the center of the hand. The center would be between the middle and the index finger. So when I place my hand onto the floor, I turn that space between the two fingers forward so that my hands look like this. It's like these two fingers guiding the center of my hand and the center of my palm. Also, for my hand press, I don't use the entire length of the finger, but just the fingers. So I flex my fingers. In order to perfect this, you can do a very simple exercise by squeezing and releasing. Squeezing and releasing. Squeezing and releasing. And then 5 fingers together and release. 5 fingers together and release. Together and release. You can repeat this a few times. Of course, it depends on the level. It depends on the experience. So now I feel my fingers are ready, my wrists are ready, and I place my hands on the mat. For my I like a little space at the top. So I measure 1 foot from the edge of the mat and step behind that line. So this is for my hands. This space allows you to adjust. For example, the distance between the determines your abdominal strength. Because when close feet and hand, the abdomen should be stronger for the lift. If it's too far, too much space, it makes it difficult. So what I want to find the distance between the wrist and the toes that is specifically for me, for my body weight, for my skill, for how I distribute the body weight. So the distance for me between the wrist and the top and my toes is more or less 1 hand. So I position my hands, remember the center, the 2 fingers forward. I press the palm, ensuring that my hands are open, shoulder distance. My fingers are open like the roots of a tree, pressing the fingertips into the floor. The important thing for this sort of transition is the abdominal squeeze, the extension of the pelvis. Of course, we are talking about experience here. So the ability to fall down to your legs determines how easy the transition, how easy the lift of the legs will be. So the closer you bring your chest towards the legs, the easier the lift will be. So let's say Padangustasana, Padahastasana, or Paschimottanasana. So that will determine the extension of your pelvis down towards the floor. Another important thing is my legs. There is a very general, very simple rule that I use in my teachings, that soft is heavy, strong is light. What does it mean? By engaging arms, legs, abdomen, I gain control, and therefore it's easier to lift. By keeping my legs, my hips soft, I have no control, they become heavy, and I cannot do much with them. So here, I press my heels together, I squeeze my legs together, I activate my mula bandha, I pull my mula up, I bring the abdomen deep in, and I take a very deep fold while pushing the heels into the floor, squeezing the legs together, squeezing the heels together. I position my hands centered with the fingers flexed, the entire palm pushing into the floor. And I begin by simply shifting the body weight forward. So I engage my legs, I engage my feet, and I bring the body weight to the front, pushing the toes and releasing. And then I repeat one more time, squeezing the feet, the heels, the legs, making sure Mula Uddiyana is active, pressing the palms and fingertips and lift. This time, I want to take my feet off the floor, which means I need to lean forward. This is exactly what weight distribution is. And I push, lift, and release. And I repeat. So how far off the floor the feet come is determined by the abdominal strength. So here, what I want to try next is I want to do a kick. So I push, lift, and I kick my wrists. And release. When I do that, I push my weight forward. I'm lifting my hips above my shoulders, above my hands, squeezing the abdomen, keeping the legs strong. And one more time. For the next part, I want to take my feet off the floor. The weight of the legs forces me to lean forward a little bit more, squeezing my abdomen deeper and making sure my legs are strong, engaged, to make sure that they're light. Remember, soft is heavy, strong is light. So what I want to do next is I want to take my feet completely, my legs completely above the floor. So once again, 2 fingers forward, palms squeezing the legs, taking a deep fold to the front, distributing my weight forward. And release. Of course, there is breath control, using Ujjayi, controlling the breath, controlling the inhale, controlling the exhale. Depending on how long is the inhale, but let's say generally 4 seconds. So that lift would be 3 to 4 seconds. And then I want to transition into my chaturanga. So here, I don't go into a complete lift to completely extend into the air with my legs straight. For Surya Namaskara, this is generally not necessary because first I want to save strength and energy. But since this is homework, this is a workshop and preparation, why not try and take the feet into the air all the way? So this is abdominal control. As I lift my feet, I keep pushing the hands into the floor. I squeeze my abdomen, Squeeze my legs together and stretch my feet out into the air. It's good if you have someone to spot you, to support you, in case you feel a little insecure about falling down, which is part of the practice. It could be fun, but learning to fall down correctly, securing that you know how to fall down helps grow more confident. But this is a different workshop. We are not going to learn how to fall today. So now I want to incorporate this lift into my Surya Namaskara practice. So I come into Samastiti. Squeezing the legs, bringing the body weight to my heels. Engaging my locks, extending the neck. Engaging my drishti, making sure my gaze is soft and without focus. And then, of course, I repeat 5 rounds. Now, the jump back from down dog into Uttanasana B basically incorporates the very same principles. But what I do for the jump back is, of course, using abdominal strength, strong legs, and finding my center, knowing when to stop and squeeze to ensure that my legs are in the air, more or less 90 degrees or lower, and with the exhale, with control, bringing the feet down, ready for my, to close the sequence of Surya Namaskara. For example, as I am in my down dog, I extend my shoulders. I press the palms into the floor, extend the pelvis. With an inhale, I charge my legs, bending the knees, and jumping forward, bringing the legs together, stretching the feet. So basically what I want to do as my legs go up, I want to squeeze my legs together, making sure that the heels are touching together, inside leg strong, and the feet are long. At the same time, the abdomen is normal. Strong is light, soft is heavy. By a complete awareness of my body movement, of the distribution, it allows me to make transition. I guess if you have some questions, I would be happy to.
Morning, guys. This is Kanchan here. Hi, good morning, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, keeping the legs together, keeping the feet together. Imagine that you have a card between your heels, so squeezing the heels together. The inner line of the leg, squeezing the legs together. So when you jump up, it's important to bring those legs strong, stretched into the center. So just try to keep in mind, it's a very useful rule, yeah? Soft is heavy, strong is light. So strong legs, strong feet, squeezing the legs together gives a sense of control and lightness. There isn't a soft part in the body when we do such transitions. So what's also helpful is the abdominal work, preparing the abdomen, strengthening the pelvic muscles, the abdominal muscles, to ensure that there is more control for the lift or jump back. So like I told you earlier, going into a deep fold, bringing your chest as close to the legs as possible, squeezing the abdomen in, and trying to hold that abdomen strong and deep over the leg. And leaning, distributing the body weight forward. To make this exercise a little easier, I would recommend maybe crossing the feet, because when we bend the knees, the legs become a little lighter and it requires a little less abdominal work, like this. So as I lean forward, I press my knees to my chest and lift my feet off the floor with the knees bent. So this helps me stay centered. Feet together, legs together, abdomen deep. Very good. There is no succeeding without trying. The only way to find out is to try. Yeah, so finding how weight distribution works. And of course, being patient. Yeah. So I always teach my students, for example, patience is number one. Respecting your body, because nothing happens in one day. Very good. Exactly. Wonderful. Yes. Very good. Yeah. Extending the shoulders, making sure that the shoulder is long, because we use the lateral muscles to hug and support the chest. Exactly. Yes. Excellent. Wonderful. Yes. Yeah. Excellent. Wow. Very good. Yeah. Super. Yeah.
Sir, I have a question. When you lift your body, do you give importance to the shoulder strength or you give importance to the core?
This is complex work. So yes, of course, keeping the shoulder extended. If you collapse the shoulder, we lose that strength of the lateral muscle that is here. So keeping the shoulders extended. The other thing that I failed to mention, I apologize, is the drishti. Of course, the drishti is towards the center, but because you're so close to the floor and oftentimes the eyes start to wander, so I keep my eyes, my soft gaze within the thumbs. So, and then it's complex works. Extended shoulders, pressing the palms, the base of the palm into the floor, abdominal squeeze, the engaging my legs, my feet, squeezing everything into the center, the heels, the legs, pulling my mula up. It gives me a sense of center and a sense of balance. Well, I hope I answered the question. Yes. Please feel free to ask if there is anyone else.
Hey, how could it can better forward bending if somebody could not touch their chest with their legs? How can
Right. Yes, the deep fold is crucial because by bringing chest and legs closer together, you ensure that the lift is easier. I guess we are talking probably first extending the hamstrings, extending the pelvic muscles, extending the lower back, the glutes, before we get into a handstand or a lift. So the forward fold is absolutely necessary in this case. I
Could you
mean,
tell me
I
some
work,
options with we can make perfect forward bending?
pardon, please say it again.
Could you tell me the some asanas or some stretching with this we can make perfect forward bending?
With Ashtanga Vinyasa, as you go through the sequence, you target the entire body. I cannot say that you should focus on, for example, forward bending. As we go through the sequence, through the standing sequence, the seated sequence, the twists, the balances, the back bends, it opens the body in every single way. So we cannot just just focus on the forward bend and forget everything else. So through the practice, through the Ashtanga practice, you come to the point where the body, where the fold at the hips, the hamstring extension, well, basically the forward bend becomes easier. But it's not just that. It's the Marichiasana set. It's the everything we do in Ashtanga sequence that slowly, gradually prepares you for the next step.
So we have to focus for all body stretching, right? Not particular.
Yes, if we are only talking about, for example, the leg lift in Surya Namaskaras, then I would stress the forward bend, important. The shoulder extension, important. For example, what we do with the shoulder rotation, the shoulder extension, through Marichiasana sequences, through back bends, when we open the chest, which allows us to extend the shoulder far out, to allow the lateral muscles to engage. As the lateral muscles engage, they start to hug the chest. So I have this support in the upper body, thanks to the lateral muscles and the shoulder extension.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
So any another questions you all want to ask?
Sir, is there any major difference between the Vinyasa and the Ashtanga series?
Pardon, could you repeat it?
Neha,
Yeah.
open her video na. Denis, she want to know that is it basic difference between Vinyasa style and Astanga style? What you feel it's your ideology?
I often get asked the question how Ashtanga is different from Vinyasa yoga or any other modern type of yoga. My answer is that the Ashtanga sequence is extremely intelligent, that it's supported by science, the sequence is built in a way that it prepares the body for more advanced asana. Every asana prepares you for the next. I mean, you would not be able to go into Kurmasana without doing the Marichyasana or Bhujapidasana. Yeah, so there is a lot of intelligence that went into building that sequence. So I don't need to worry about what should I do next, because the work was done for me. When Patabi Joyce put all those intelligence into creating that sequence, I trust the system completely. So when I start my standing sequence, it prepares me for my seated sequence. My forward bends prepare me for twists. Then like I said, for example, Bhujapidasana prepares you for Kurmasana or Supta Kurmasana. The abdominal work that we did through Navasana prepares you for Upavisthakanasana, Ubhayapadangustasana, or Urdhva Mukha Paschimuttanasana. So the order of the asana is building the strength, the flexibility, the openness in the body, leading to more advanced asanas, building heat in the body through Ujjayi, the awareness of the locks, the line of the locks, the line of the chakras, keeping me in center. So that's how Ashtanga Vinyasa is different from other types.
But you recommend we perform Ashtanga or Vinyasa?
As
Definitely
an Ashtangi, I would say Ashtanga.
Astanga, yes, I know. I know.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right. अनुज शर्मा, अगर किसी को हिंदी और इंग्लिश में दिक्कत है ना, तो आप परेशान मत होइए, आप बताइए तो फिर आपके बिहाफ पे मैं पूछ लेता हूँ, है ना? I just say, Denis, to all Indian students that if they are having problem to their native languages, so they can ask you easily, na? I can translate you. In fact, they can speak Ecuadorian language too. किसी को कुछ पूछना है? मनीषा, बेटा कुछ पूछना, पूछिए जल्दी. अनुज Sharma, Shivali, no questions? Rajesh Rastogi
question.
कोई प्रश्न है?
Could you just please explain the sequence of breathing when you are doing this entire sequence? How do you control your breathing? In the sense that you inhale and do this, you exhale and do this. Could you please explain that?
Yes, as Ashtanga uses Ujjayi, well, let's say, like I mentioned before, Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga is meditation in motion. The meditative state comes from absolute awareness of the locks, the drishti, and the breath. So using Ujjayi gives me the strength, the energy to last the entire sequence, which is often a 2-hour practice. So the integration of movement into breath means, for example, if the inhale, the Ujjayi inhale is 4 or 5 seconds, that movement would be exactly 4 or 5 seconds, which means the exhale would be 4 or 5 seconds, and the next movement matching that exhale. So I would have to go through the entire sequence, for example, to demonstrate the breath, inhale, exhale. For example, as you go through your Surya Namaskara, starting in Samastiti, the Urdhva Vrikshasana is with an inhale, and Uttanasana is with an exhale. then Uttanasana B is an inhale, and because I am preparing for a lift, with an exhale, I adjust my hands. Then with an inhale, I'll take a transition, and with the exhale, I come into Chaturanga. With an up dog, inhale, and down dog, exhale. Now here I take 5 breaths, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And before I transition, I inhale, bending my knees. I jump forward, placing my feet with the exhale. Now inhale, Uttanasana B, exhale, Uttanasana A, inhale, Urdhva Vrikshasana, and exhale, Samastiti.
Okay. Yeah, I got it. So essentially, when you inhale, before you exhale, that movement has to be complete.
Yes, exactly. So the length of my inhale is matched by the length of my movement.
Okay, thank you, sir.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with adding breath. But if you add breath, you add movement, or if you add movement, you add breath. So it's like that. Because yoga primarily is about the breath.
Yes.
Right? It's the primary purpose, breathing, and then adjusting the movement to match the breath. So let's say the primary purpose of yoga is breath, and asana is just secondary.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much to everyone for this lovely appearance, and I really appreciate presence of Denis, Master Denis. Whenever I ask to Master Denis to present for me, he accepts easily, and I'm so grateful that I'm having such a beautiful, like such a great friend, and he has a beautiful heart, and definitely he's a perfect yogi. It's all about you, Denis. It's not about me and my family. It's all about yoga. And it's a joint. Thank you so much for your lovely presence.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you everyone for listening and watching me. May you all have a wonderful day, and namaste.
Thank you, Daniel.
Namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much.
Daniel, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's very nice.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
You speak.
Okay, Dennis. Thank you so much.
You speak very sweetly, Daniel. I tell you, this is your
Thank
quality.
you.
Maintain this. Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming with us.
Okay, thank you for
Very
having
nice.
me. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.